My goal is to go faster than I went with my LS3, and we got to go faster than 855 to do that. So that's the goal for the car. We'll see. That's
burning.
Yeah, buddy. That's pretty rough.
So I'm back. I got our brackets made here for the fuel cell and the radiator. Got the trans cooler mounted to the radiator. Putting it all back together, putting it in the car. Then we're gonna start plumbing fuel and water. And in the meantime, I gotta get the brakes figured out too. What we got here, Ryan?
All right, so what we're looking at here, blue car is now, as you can see, hood on, trunk on, the extra side of the car. The only thing not installed in the car yet, two things. The harness bar is not in it, but we don't have the optic armor front and rear windows in it. And I'm thinking those are at best gonna be close to a wash. Anyways, this weight is reasonably close. We're at 2,487 pounds, 2,488, whatever. No driver. Hey Mike, you mind popping a squat in this thing? 2633. Will you in?
Harness bar, seatbelt, 130 pounds.
Harness bar, seat belt, but we don't have the optic armor windows in it yet. So regardless, we're gonna be mid 2600s, 2630 something to 2650 something or 60, whatever. We're all over 2650, which is pretty close to about where we wanted to be. Probably when we ran the record passes, I think we were like 2830, 2850. So I think we're close to a couple 100 pounds lighter, 150 anyways. So that's gonna equate to something, and you know, our little engine makes more power now. So I don't know.
Do the honors here.
Yeah, hopefully honor the horsepower gods on the dyno here in moments. Say moments after we get this tape. It's been on here for a year off. Maybe not a year. What, since last April? Get your ass off there.
All right.
Let me flash this. Tuned in for 100% nitro methane. Service keyless start system, service power steering. Don't even have them anymore. Service theft deterrent. Fuel level low.
With that hot tune coming up here.
Yeah.
Is that off the trailer tune or on the trailer tune?
I don't know, the dyno will tell us that. I've added some fuel to cover what we needed to add from the last setup and then some. So hopefully it'll be a little rich and a little under time to start with. We won't really know till we make that first stab though.
Find out right here. Burning?
Yeah, buddy. That's pretty rough.
Round two. See what she does.
So you're gonna start this time?
It will. Bypassed all the immobilizer stuff. We just ended up putting a button on it. No more issues there.
Roll this thing with that real quick.
Yeah.
Top on that pool, so I got to add some fuel up top, but yeah, we're creeping up on it a little bit.
What's the update?
Update is we are tapping out the fuel system on the little bit of M5 mix. We had a gallon of M5 with 4 gallons of C85, and it's yeah, it's not happy about it right now. So the high pressure fuel pump's pretty much maxed out, and it was dropping pressure at the top of that pull. It kind of got pissy and broke up a little bit.
What high pressure fuel pump are we running?
It's got the LT4 stuff
The
on this
LT4.
car. We were going to drain what fuel is left in this fuel cell and then just fill it up with C85, go back to the fuel we were running before, try to dial it in, you know, from there. Should be reasonably close, I would think.
Reasonably close to what you guessed, or reasonably closer to what we think?
We're a long ways off right now, and the problem with a 3-speed car like this with a super loose converter is we don't know how exactly the converter is acting. The converter obviously is very, very loose. I mean, it's flashing 7400, 7450 as soon as I stab it. So, you know, I just can't put a ton of faith in the chassis dyno numbers right now until I just have some more data. But like right now, we were still low on timing and in a safe air fuel zone on the M5 mix, so it's not like we were pushing really hard just yet. So I think we'll end up pretty close to our mid 700 targets if I can get this thing leaned out, get it happy up top. It broke up like that time almost like it had an ignition misfire, and as a matter of fact, I think I may have James pull the plugs and let's verify plugs, because I felt it physically break up. But that was also about the time that it dropped some fuel pressure up top too. A couple things kind of happened at one time.
What's the vibe, Rhino?
Well, it was rich, really rich, that pull. I just pulled a chunk of fuel out of the tune, but I feel like we need to look at those plugs also. So that's what we're gonna do right now. Tattoo my finger. Well, it is old. So it's got that gray color. On the engine dyno at first, we ran Q16 fuel, and it's leaded race gas, because we wanted to see how much the ethanol fuel was worth over the Q16. This is typical to see with leaded plugs, you know, race engines. They just get deposits built up. These engines don't run long enough. They run very cold heat range plugs because they're high compression. They don't run long enough to get the self-cleaning to burn all that residue off. So it builds up over time, and of course, eventually it's going to cause, you know, some ignition problems. So assuming this is probably what we are encountering right now. So we're going to throw a set of plugs in real fast, and that's going to be, that's going to be hot. Glorious on this next pull.
The people want to know, why are we putting a rag on the test tube?
Because this thing pulling a little vacuum is pulling some oil up into the canister, and just the airspeed kind of churning around in the can is just causing like some oil vapors to soak that filter, and eventually the air churning around pushes the little oil droplets out of the filter.
Throwing oil out of the can.
It's just puking a little oil out, but we're using a vacuum pump, full vacuum on the crankcase, so it's gonna pull a little bit of oil. Just kind of is what it is with this can.
The whole concept here is we're sucking on the valley right here.
Yep.
Goes into this can. We catch the oil out of here, goes to the pump, and the pump has an exhaust that comes out of here.
Yep.
So any oil
Just
left
vents
over.
the atmosphere.
You changed up the spark plugs, we put 12s in it?
Yeah, unfortunately we put RR12s where our stock order won't be here till tomorrow for the 14, so I don't know what's not doing any favors power wise, but it's probably not much difference one way or another between the 12s and 14s. Just on C85 and first rip, we're really close, really close, like 729 first rip, so we're up from where we used to be already. Yeah, I think we're probably pretty close. I'm not going to kill it on the dyno, trying to make a nasty number. I was hoping we could run the M5 next, because I knew basically the M5 would be a little bit of free power, but we just don't have the fuel system with the kind of power this car is making to run any M5 mix without running it leaner than I want to run it, and I'm not interested in taking any chances. So.
Alright, so we picked up horsepower.
Yeah, got this little rich spot, and it seems like it did it on both pulls. Don't really know why yet.
Which it's still running rich, or it's
Just in like one little spot.
I feel like you've taken quite a bit of fuel out.
Oh, I have taken a lot of fuel out, yeah. 7900, it was like 11.6 air fuel.
How was it, Rhino?
Straight ripping. I took a little bit too much fuel out of it because it was a little lean at that one spot, but it obviously didn't bother it by looking at the power curve. So we're pretty well there though. I mean, it's dead nuts on fuel, timing, and fuel. Like it's doing what it's gonna do pretty much. That one spot where it was having the dip was really affecting the power curve on the dyno chart. Getting that smoothed out much better. So I'm gonna flash the tune in, let it cool down probably 5 or 10 minutes, and I'm going to put it in second gear and basically stab it and make sure the air shifter hits and shifts and does everything. But I'm pulling up to about 84, 8500 here on the chassis dyno. That pull was 8405. The pull before was 8450 something. You know, we went 8600 and change on the engine dyno. So.
How was she?
I've got some kind of temperature modifier that's messing with my air fuel during the pull, and I made this pull and it kind of made the change it made to that modifier or whatever, so I'm gonna let it cool back down. Then I'm gonna make another pull with no tune changes and see what the air fuel does. It was, by the wideband, it was lean, but it made more power. So it made 741 that pull. It was lean because it was only 96 kPa and it was 98 without the scoop on. So it was down in a fuel cell that we hadn't seen. So I get to make another pull or two.
Did that break up really bad at the end?
Yeah, I got a little bit unhappy at the end. This thing is just changing fuel a little bit from one pull to the other. And I think it has to do with how long we're running it after we re-flash it. I'm gonna try to flash this file in, let it sit here and cool a bit. Hopefully make a pretty close pull. Dyno tuning was overall a success. We conquered. It didn't come without some challenges. Started Monday, fired the car up, wheeled it back to the dyno. Was a little crooked on the roller. It was like, we'll fire it up, move it. And guess what? It wouldn't start again the whole rest of the day. We're like, what the heck? And basically, you know, we deleted all the power brakes and the ABS and the EBCM, the electronic brake control module, and we took the power steering off the car. Apparently something with the EBCM and the body control module talking to each other. It took like 50 key cycles before it wouldn't send a crank request to the starter relay in the fuse box. So rather than spend a ton of time going through and trying to make this harness a standalone and everything, we found out that we could plug the EBCM module back up over there, and then we could use a push button for the starter relay. For us, for what we're doing with the car, it's just not worth chasing all that stuff down and finding better solutions than what we did. So we have a push button to start the car. You basically key it on like normal, and we have a push button to start the car now. We got the car on the dyno Tuesday, pull the spark plugs, realize, oh yeah, this engine came back complete from when it was on the engine dyno, so it has spark plugs in it from when we were on the engine dyno, which had like 20 something dyno pulls and all this idle time around here. So Bad thing was that we were waiting on our brisk spark plug stock order to come in, which wasn't going to be here until the following day. So we had 7 brisk RR12s and 3 brisk RR14s. We normally run the 14s in it. So we dynoed it on 7 RR12s and 1 RR14, so that's cool. Well, we had it wrapped up really Tuesday afternoon, and I even made a pull through 2nd gear and let the air shifter hit it and make sure it bumped 3rd gear and kind of validated the RPM shift point, which was about 8660 on that. We were pretty good, and I said, well, let's leave it on the dyno. Well, Wednesday morning we came in with it still strapped to the dyno, and I made a couple glory hero runs, you know, for all the internet clout to get the biggest dyno sheet since it was cooler outside. So we ended up that morning 758 wheel, but like I said, it was super cool. Much like the weather, we'll probably run the car in for some record times, but it was so cool Wednesday morning in comparison to Tuesday that we actually were up 2 full mapped KPA, and the engine and fuel wasn't, you know, heat soaked and everything. So that's the difference in the few dyno numbers we picked up basically from Wednesday morning back to Tuesday. So overall success. 20 plus pulls on the engine dyno, 20 plus pulls on the chassis dyno. There we are. We're about ready to go racing. So my guess is going to go 842 at 158. That's going to be my official guess. We'll see where everybody else lands if we do that, but something's going to happen, and we're going to find out what it is. So thanks everyone for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, and comment below. Also, give us a follow on our social media channels, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. As always, we appreciate you guys, and we'll see you again next time.